Of course, I still had a lot of past trauma that I needed to work on, though. I mean, there were many times when my biological parents would only have enough money to buy food for themselves and Craig. Or rather, they only had enough to buy the three of them expensive foods. They could, of course, had spent their money wiser and had purchased food for everyone, myself included, but they felt it was a waste. There were nights when they would eat steak and give me oatmeal, or they would have lobster and give me stale bread and water. I was so malnourished when I was sold to the Thompsons. Hi, my name is James, and I'll never forget the day my parents sold me. Trust me, I know how jarring that must sound, but it happened. I was 8 years old, sitting at the kitchen table, trying to read one of the few books I owned, while my older brother, Craig, lounged on the couch, flipping channels on the TV. I had always been quiet, preferring the company of my books to people. Craig, on the other hand, was the golden child. He was loud, confident, and good at sports. All the things our parents adored. They never hid their preference for him. I was just there. A spare part they didn't know what to do with.
James, it's a shame, but we only have enough energy and love for one son. Plus, we know that Craig will go on to do great things and you're just a mediocre child. There is nothing special about you.
Yep, Craig has true potential. I mean, look at him. He's smart, he's going to be handsome, and with our guidance, he can really make something of himself and care for us later in life. I have potential as well. Why don't you guys ever have faith in me? Because you're an ugly loser, that's why. Your brother is right, but there is a way that you can help make our dreams come true. Huh? Really? I probably should have questioned what my father was getting at, but I was a kid and I didn't even consider the possibility that they would sell me of all things. One night, they sat me down and told me I was going to live with another family. They can't have children of their own. You'll be doing them and us a favor. Why can't I stay here?
James, you're not like Craig. You don't fit in with us. This will be better for everyone. And like we said, there would be a way for you to help make our dreams come true. Well, with the money that they are going to give us for you, we will be able to live lives of luxury. Don't you want that for us?
Better for everyone. I could still hear those words echoing in my head years later. The Thompsons, the family I was sold to, were kind, loving, and everything my biological parents weren't. I did resent them at first. After all, they had bought me, and I felt very hurt by that. But slowly, I got to understand them better. They couldn't have kids of their own, and had longed for a child for years. When I arrived, they treated me like a gift. It was jarring at first, the way they hugged me, asked about my day, and genuinely cared about my thoughts and feelings. It took me months to stop flinching every time they showed affection. But slowly, I began to open up, to feel safe. Of course, I still had a lot of past trauma that I needed to work on, though. I mean, there were many times when my biological parents would only have enough money to buy food for themselves and Craig. Or rather, they only had enough to buy the three of them expensive foods. They could, of course, had spent their money wiser and had purchased food for everyone, myself included, but they felt it was a waste. There were nights when they would eat steak and give me oatmeal, or they would have lobster and give me stale bread and water. I was so malnourished when I was sold to the Thompsons. It was quite the adjustment for me. The Thompsons actually cared for me. They fed me very well and stopped at nothing to make sure that my mind was always being stimulated and engaged. They filled bookshelves in my bedroom with whatever books I desired and would often go for bike rides with me or take me swimming down by the lake. It felt odd that they actually wanted to spend quality time with me, whereas my biological parents never wanted to see me. The trauma was deeply ingrained, but as the years went by, I started working through it and started feeling more in tune with my feelings. Among them was the growing sensation of being safe and feeling loved and appreciated. Something my biological parents never showed me, not even a little bit. I started writing to cope with the confusion of it all. At first, it was just scribbling thoughts in a journal, but over time, my love for reading turned into a love for storytelling. The Thompsons encouraged it and cheered me on every time I wrote something new. For the first time in my life, I felt like I had a purpose. Years passed, and I grew up in a home filled with warmth. The pain of being abandoned by my birth family never truly went away, but it became a dull ache, overshadowed by the love I found with the Thompsons. By the time I was in my mid-20s, I'd written my first novel, which became an unexpected success. By the time I was 30, I was a well-known author with multiple bestsellers under my belt. Life was good. Then, one day, they came back. After I began being successful, I had suspected that they would one day come crawling back, and I was prepared for it. It was a Tuesday afternoon when I received the email. It had been years since I'd heard anything from my biological parents. After they handed me over to the Thompsons, they cut all contact. So, when I saw my mother's name pop up in my inbox, I felt a sick twist in my gut.
James, we need to talk. It's urgent. Call me.
I didn't want to, but curiosity got the better of me. I called, and she answered on the first ring.
James, thank God. I wasn't sure if you'd call. Your brother, Craig, he's in some trouble, financial trouble. We need your help.
Why should I care? And what kind of trouble? She was silent for a few minutes, but eventually she started talking. Apparently they had blown through the money that the Thompsons had given them rather quickly and had been unable to really save up much money for Craig's future schooling. So instead, he ended up getting involved with selling drugs and laundering money through a convenience store he had purchased with the money he made. He was facing potential criminal charges, as the police had begun investigating his store. It was only a matter of time before they discovered how he truly made his money. Even though it was illegal, my biological parents invested all of their own money into Craig's illegal dealings, and had even started a small business for him to use as a front and another avenue to launder money through. They were on the verge of losing everything too, and potentially being arrested as well. Holy crap, why would you get involved in such things?
Well, the money is good, and after we spent all the money we got for selling you, we were desperate.
And what makes you think I'll help you now? Or that I can help you at all?
We need money, James. Enough to hire a good lawyer that can get us off. They have to be really good, though, and that means that they will be very expensive. You've done well for yourself, haven't you? You can help us.
Ha! You're asking me for money? After what you did to me, you sold me off like I was nothing. And then you went and squandered the money that you got. Are you kidding me?
That's not fair, James. We did what was best for you. Look how you turned out.
How I turned out has nothing to do with you. It's all thanks to my real family being supportive, loving, and kind. Everything that you never were.
We're still your family. We need you.
I'm done listening to his drivel. I'm not giving you a dime. Goodbye. I hung up the phone. The nerve of them. After all these years, they came crawling back, not because they cared about me, but because they needed something from me. Typical. I thought that was the end of it, but a week later, they showed up at my house. I opened the door to see my mother, father, and Craig standing on the front porch, looking desperate and furious. We need to talk. What do you want? Without warning, they pushed past me and stood inside my house. I knew instantly that I wasn't going to like what they were going to say, and so I casually started recording with my phone. Just in case. We gave you a chance to do the right thing. Now you're going to help us, whether you like it or not. Or what?
Or we'll make sure your new family pays the price.
What are you talking about? We know where the Thompsons live. You love them, don't you? If you don't help us, well, accidents happen all the time, don't they? If you don't fork over the money, we'll pay them a visit and make sure that they are hurt, or possibly even dead. All depends on my mood when I see them. I felt sick. They were threatening the only people who had ever truly cared about me. My hands shook with anger, but I forced myself to stay calm. You would seriously hurt them. For money? You're leaving us no choice. Fine, I'll hire you a good lawyer. I'll contact you in a couple days when I have found someone good. See, now was that so hard? I had never felt so angry ever before in my whole life. After they left, I called my adoptive parents and told them everything, and for them to meet me at the police station. Once there, I showed the police the recording from my CCTV camera of my biological family, threatening me and my adoptive parents, and I demanded that they protect us. The officers that heard the recording nodded and promised that they would. As luck would have it, the recording I made would allow them to go to a judge and prove that Craig and my biological parents posed a danger to the public and needed to be arrested immediately. They sent a squad car over to their houses and tried to arrest them. My biological parents went easily and didn't fight back much, but Craig didn't go down so easily. His shady business deals had finally caught up with him, and the authorities were closing in. When they tried to arrest him, he ran. I remember watching the news that night, seeing the high-speed chase unfold on live television. Craig was driving recklessly, weaving in and out of traffic, desperate to escape. My heart pounded as I watched, knowing how it would end. Sure enough, after 20 minutes of speeding through the city, his car crashed into a barrier. The news anchor's voice was solemn as she reported his death. I didn't feel anything. No sadness, no relief. Just nothing. Craig had made his choices, and now he was gone. My biological parents went to prison for their crimes. I didn't attend the trial. I didn't need to. They were out of my life, just like they had been for years, and that was how I wanted it to stay. As for me, I returned to my life with the Thompsons, the only family I'd ever truly known. They had supported me through everything, even when the ghosts of my past tried to tear me down. I owed them everything. I'm still writing, and I'm at peace now, knowing that the people who tried to use me and hurt me are in jail. I even heard rumors that Craig's ghost constantly torments my parents while they're imprisoned, and they act like they've gone mad. I didn't become the useless, throwaway child they thought I'd be. I became more than they ever could have imagined. And for that, I have no one to thank but myself and my real family. I plan to write a book about my horrible parents. What do you all think?